All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So today we will be talking about the meme stocks. I'll spend a little extra time on Bed Bath & Beyond because clearly it was the biggest story and it was a horrible story. But it was 100% avoidable if you use the 8 moving average rule I stress here often, right? So I'll get to the details shortly, but real quick, what are we going to do? Same thing we do every day, right? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly to see how these are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines that I do manually draw myself, and then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Real quick before getting into it, if you can please like and or subscribe, it does really well with the YouTube algorithms, and I either way appreciate your time for sure, for sure. Also, look, my meme stock list is a little small, so if there's anything you want me to add to this, throw it in the comments and I'll get it going on the next video, okay? But let's definitely get into the details, starting with Bed Bath & Beyond. So look, I stress these moving averages up here are 80% of the work and these are 20% often. And really you can see it especially here, right? So I'm going to zoom out and then we're going to quickly zoom in, all right? So since basically, what are we looking at? August, okay? We'll actually call it since September. I think this is the better view, okay? So we definitely touched the 20 here. We definitely touched the 20 here. We never touched the 50. We never touched the 100. Keep all that in mind, okay? So after this horrible drop down, very, very bullish on this. And if you watch the videos from this week, pretty much called it. One, it lands right on the line. Two, I actually was kind of a little more conservative, and at this I said $5 just under the 100 moving average. It actually went almost 10% higher, almost 20% higher actually, almost a full dollar higher than I thought. But nonetheless, this ride was completely predictable. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed. This is not financial advice, but this is the power of technical analysis when the cards add up correctly, right? You can see on this run, MACD starts to take off, RSI starts to take off, super healthy increase in volume. It all just lines up. And what made things even worse, even better, I'm going to go to the Dow Jones real quick. You can see a beautiful rise during that same window, right? So when all the things line up, amazing things happen at the 8 moving average, okay? When I gave this $5 target, one of the things I did say was, look, I don't think we're going to get over the 100 because, again, zooming out, we haven't even come close to testing it. I mean, the fact that we blew through the 50 in its own was a little bit of an astonishment. It really was because, again, we haven't even wick touched it, right? So it just didn't make sense in my head that we would break both as cleanly, okay? But my thought was, look, we'll hit this, we'll come back down, and it should be real difficult to lose these two lines, okay? Very often you'll hear me say cluster of lines, right? This is definitely 2 of them, and it's just when they're stacked together. It's super hard to break a cluster, and it should be super hard to lose a cluster, because again, losing 1 is bad. Losing 2 together should kind of, make it a tighter wall, right? Make that support, that floor just a little better. And it kind of tries to do that, right? So here we definitely lose the 8. Here we use the bounce, but we never get over the 8, okay? And then today, when we lost both, it was horrible, okay? And again, super avoidable because number 1, we're not over the 8. And my rule number 1, if you watch these, is get over the 8 moving average. Bad things happen under the 8. I mean, look at this. All of this is pretty much happening under the 8, right? And if you see my videos, I know it's repetitive, but trust me, repetitive is good. That means it's sinking in, right? But yeah, and then another thing that I often talk about are these horizontal clusters. So let alone the 2 that are tight, and now it's kind of 3 you're getting tight. These 4 are real close to each other and are starting to move parallel, right? So we go from the top of it to the bottom of it to never really even the middle, right? The middle is roughly right here. So we stay under this line, we're well under the 8, we lose 2, and that's why you get that, right? And then one last thing, just look at the volume. right? Look at the RSI definitely just kind of go from this beautiful up to this super horizontal, right? There were a lot of things, and then even this guy, right, starts to kind of curve down today. We're definitely under it. We're probably going to go into the negative soon, right? I mean, there's a lot of I have to start drawing some lines down here, right? I mean, at this point, I'm just going to do these quickly. There's that. Shit, do I mean, I already drew, I mean, then there's, no, let me use the top of this one. Yeah, I'm going to use the top of this guy. And you can see it looks like it actually, that's where it wicked today, a little bit over it, right? So it pretty much came to the top of that already, and then we'll use the top of that. So yeah, we've already lost. Oh no, we didn't lose this. Okay, cool. At least it stayed over that. Look, what needs to happen tomorrow is it has to close at least at the, what's the, okay, if this thing can close at 295, pretty much right there. Okay, 298, 295, whatever, right? We're not looking for perfection. Two things will happen. Actually, can I just draw this line? Is that 295? 294. It's actually close, right? Is that where it closed? Where did you open it? Yeah, that's where you closed. Okay, cool. Nice. That's our line. If you can close, you being Bed Bath & Beyond, can close here, that'll at least do two things. One, it'll retake 50%, and two, it'll kind of put you back into the, I'm not even going to draw this because now I've like, you can't even see the orange line anymore. Basically, what I'm saying is it needs to get back into this cluster, okay? If it cannot get back in, this thing is coming down, all right? And I mean, look, there's plenty of places for this to go down. There's still a lot of places for this to go down. The fact that it didn't bounce and go back up, the fact that it lost it is bad. And tomorrow is going to be way more important than today because tomorrow's either going to confirm it and it's going to come down, probably close around here, give or take, if not worse. Or it's going to kind of come back or do better and say, hey, no, this was a fake out, right? Because, again, I've said it often, anything can happen when you start getting a horizontal cluster of, I mean, look, there's 5 lines, right? This is 4 of the 5, right? This should violently throw you up or down. It's a little early for it to happen. I'm not going to, I will say that, but... yeah, there's definitely reason to be worried here, and again, my biggest stress is it was completely avoidable. One, by knowing it's under the 8 moving average. 2, by seeing that failed bounce right there, right? It couldn't even get over the 8, right? This 2-line bounce was so pathetic. And then more than anything, once you lost this, it really was game over. You can't lose the cluster of these two. You can't fall out of the cluster of 4. Yeah, the best thing this thing can do, obviously the best thing can do is go over it, right? But this must come back in. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, it seems like we're coming back down to $2 tomorrow, give or take, $2.08, $2, whatever, right? So be careful. What does the weekly look like? So look, again, just look at the weekly, right? Since that same September view that we were talking about, right? We pretty much lose the 20, all right? Couple wicks, but we've never closed over it. And really, this big one was the first one over the 8, right? So, I mean, this was not good confirmation, right? Not horrible, but yeah, I wanted it to be at least here, right? I wanted it to, maybe even come up here. Like, that's not good confirmation. And I always say, if this doesn't count, you got to wait for the next one, right? And I mean, we're kind of in the next one right now. So definitely spent a little extra time on Bed Bath, but yeah, you can easily write it up. You should be able to see the failed, right? And I promise you, I didn't like wake up and get good at this, right? It did take a few months of just learning it, practicing it, losing a little money on it, and then actually getting it, right? So don't be discouraged. If you have any questions, obviously throw it in the chat. And hey, if you disagree with any of this, throw it in the chat. I'm not here to pretend I'm 100% right all the time, and I would love to hear your opinions, right? These are simply mine. So don't ever hesitate to disagree and throw it on there. So let's take a look at AMC. Okay, so look, AMC, again, you can see it should be AMC, you can see. Sorry, that was stupid. But look, it's kind of the same pattern, but just different lines, right? So we get a nice break of the 8 right here. I'm zooming out and you can see it was the first one in a good while, right? So you get the 8 and you get a good confirmation right here, and then you're pretty much riding the 8 all the way to the 50, right? And that's how it works. Break this, break this, break this, break this, break this, fly because you're over them, right? And then when it's bad, lose this, lose this, lose this, lose this, lose this. Horrible when you're under it, right? So that's really what happened here, right? We got to 3 lines, we break it, but we do not get good confirmation, right? Is what it is. It happens. Even let's talk about this day right here, right? So doji does not count, but I like that this at least was able to close above that day, right? This one closed down here, and this one closed down here. So this went here, here, here. Still at least a gradual rise, right? And then obviously you get a nice little bump right there. Then what's happening? So look, we fail the 50. We're actually using the 8 to hold, right? And that's what the 8's supposed to do. This goes from being that really hard line you can't get over to, like, you know, oops, sorry, wrong way, to the line that's supposed to help bounce when things get better, right? But just like we saw with Bed Bath, right? Hits, tries to bounce, definitely count, and we're definitely 2 days under that. It looks like we've actually, yeah, we have right by a penny. We've now lost this support line, which is that one right there. Yeah, it's still close enough to matter, right? And it really kind of seems like we're probably going to come down here, right? Maybe one of these will save it. I'll probably draw a line on that one. I think that's the better one. Maybe this rough $5, but again, I think that's close enough to basically say this 475 is what you're really hoping for. If that can't catch it, you know, we're probably coming down here, right? That's roughly that one, roughly the top of that one. I think 407 is that number. So look, the goal from here is now to use this 20, okay? Because again, the 20 is just as hard to break. We've at least been able to break it here and here. So now that we've gotten 2 good breaks on it, and we really haven't bounced off of it yet, right? Maybe this will be the time that we bounce, but really nothing matters until it happens, and we got to get back over the 8 for me to be happy, right? So hopefully if we go low, we go nowhere lower than this. Hopefully we get back over, and then really, where is it going to be good? It's going to be good over this, right? If you can get over the 100, there's plenty of room to take you to the 200 up there, right? So personally, I mean, there's a whole mess of reds right here too, though. That's real pretty, actually. You know, I like that. When I see red, 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 red in my head, you know I'm thinking green, 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 green somewhere, right? And it is actually kind of happening at this line right here. So maybe this line will actually be able to be that bounce point and turn it into an attempt at this 7. Interesting. Okay, let's see what the meme army can do here, okay? There is actually a shot at 725, but really, I mean, it's either you go up to 725 or you go down to 480, right? I don't know both percentages off the top of my head, but hey, could be worth something. Number one, though, I wouldn't get into this until, you know, 562. Take me a little bit over that 8. And then, yeah, I think maybe if we can break that 50, we might break this and just all those reds. But I'll set an alert. Why not? Let's see what happens. 66 is a little higher. I think we said 62. Boom. Right? 60. Yeah, 61, 62 is still over it. Cool. Okay, AMC. I think I'm still a little bearish because obviously we're 1, 2, 3 days under the 8. I actually do think we're going to come down. But it's not as tight, but anything can happen when you have 4 of the 5 lines this close going horizontal, right? So we are in the middle of it, right? So maybe real quick, it kind of just goes up and down these 2 a little bit. But yeah, I think this piqued my interest a lot. I'll be real honest. Trust me, this doesn't look great. That is all right. I mean, I guess green is over red, but it's definitely not going as up as it used to. It's now at least horizontal, if not kind of coming down a little bit, right? And then clearly a whole mess more selling than buying, especially the last, 7 days, right? So, but again, all that, this really is piquing my interest. That's why I set the alert. I do need a little bit to happen. Like, trust me, I'm probably not going to buy it if it hits this in the morning, okay? I definitely need to see what volume looks like and a whole mess of things, but anything can happen in there one more time. I spent way more on this one than I expected. What does the weekly look like? It's not a bad weekly, okay? This is definitely a nice candle, still under the 8, but it looks like we're kind of trying to take this back, right? From there, this is way, way too doji, so it doesn't really count, but it is over the 8, right? And then where is it compared to this? Okay, yeah. And then again, this one's almost identical, right? But we're still over the 8. I mean, MACD's kind of coming up. Yeah, again, there's reasons to think all that, which might be the equivalent on that daily, might fill. How sustainable is it? I don't really know, right? I would say very little because, we definitely broke it here for a bit, then we lose it quickly. We've broken it here for a bit. Are we going to lose it quickly? Maybe not as severely, but I don't know if we're at a place where we're going to bounce on the 8 just yet. We kind of do it right here, but again, that's when we, still not a good weekly. That's at the very minimum, but yeah, AMC was interesting. So I'll be honest, I'm actually in this trade right now, and it's been very, very disappointing. I think I'm up like 5%, but like this is not doing what I thought it would be doing. Again, there are just so many, we're now at this line, right, the 174. Again, just a lot of red right there, a lot of green right there. I just kind of thought maybe it's just a little too far. That's what it is. I am still up, but the truth is one bad day is going to hit my stop loss, and it's pretty much going to take away all my profits. But, I mean, look, all it's been doing is trading up over the 8, right? So there hasn't really been a reason to sell. Kind of going horizontal on this. I mean, I'm hoping it makes a good little move to this guy, and I'd probably jump out at that 100, give or take. But MACD's in the positive, RSI is definitely in the 70, so again, it could still go. And there's surprisingly been more buying than selling, especially the last couple days, right? But literally, it's been such minimal profits, and if a bad day happens, I'm definitely out at 0, give or take. But look, again, we're at this doji line. We're a little bit over it with the doji. It's just, there hasn't been anything over that 50 moving average in the last few days, and it is what it is. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a lot in here, but it's a little bit of a profit. But I've been disappointed in this, I'll be honest with you, so it is what it is. What does the weekly look like? Again, it's actually a decent weekly, right? And when there's very little information, it could be a good thing or a bad thing, right? Whole mess of bad. Gets a good break of the 8 and it's definitely up on the 8 right now. It's a matter of can it break the 20, and there's definitely nothing after the 20, right? Like the 20 just started. We're definitely, another 30 days easy, or 30 weeks, easy before we get a 50 moving average on this, right? Because it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks to get the first green dot. Obviously, that's the 20th week, and then so on and so forth, right? So, get over this, and you'll be over all of them. You'll have a whole mess of reds to fill, and there's reason this could come to 5. A lot needs to happen before that 5 happens, right? And really, what am I kind of looking at? I'm really looking closer to 217 than 5 immediately. I'll be honest with you, but this one's been all right at best, kind of whatever. GameStop. Okay, look again, same. Okay, a little bit better, right? The last couple ones that we've talked about made that break on the 9th, made a run to the top horizontal line, the top moving average, definitely came back, and here you see what the other ones were supposed to do but didn't, right? They definitely do a nice bounce off this line, okay? Obviously, we couldn't get over the line that stopped us, right? And ultimately, that's what needed to happen. Also, right, this one right here, obviously my line's here, but this one right here closes at 2180. These two are both under 2180, right? So as nice as the bounce was, man, I needed to get over that recent peak, and we just couldn't do it, right? My line is clearly on the bottom of this one, but I needed to definitely get over this one for me to be like, okay, good bounce, right? Then look, one more thing. Breaks the 8 right here. Doji does not count. We're back under the 8 for two days, right? So a couple technical things here. Good bounce, bad confirmation, okay? And then again, if you're going to bounce well, you're going to get over the peak that failed. All right. So few things right there. Hopefully that wasn't too much. But yeah, this is a good chart at least. Overall, am I bullish? No, not at all, right? We're, like I said, we're under the 8 moving average. It's been 2 days. I'm really glad we're at least still over the 20, right? Hopefully we can use the 20 again to bounce. Hey, maybe we'll even kind of stay horizontal on this 8 for a little bit, because if you see it, this is kind of starting to move horizontal on these 4 lines, right? They're not very tight by any means. They're actually pretty spaced out well. But yeah, I see the 4 lines kind of getting ready to go from this down to horizontal, right? And again, anything can happen when you got 4 out of the 5 going horizontal together. So I'd be a lot more interested at $22. If you can break this pesky little red line, yeah, we're probably going to come here, then hopefully to there, right? And look, RSI is actually relatively low, 64. There's definitely still plenty of room. And, you know, I mean, this one's in the meme one, right? So this thing can get pretty high if they want to keep buying, right? They is the meme army. So that is GameStop. Not a great weekly chart, right? First off, we almost lose the 200, the very last one on the weekly, right? And I just said it. When you're under all of them, right? I went this way with it. But when you're under all of them, that's a horrible place to be, right? And it kind of seemed like that. Luckily, we came back, but that line, my horizontal line, is almost completely parallel to the 200, right? So I'm glad we're at least not really losing the 200, but yeah, it's definitely not a good weekly chart by any means. And right now, this week is actually sitting on a cluster of the 20 and the 200. So I'm glad we're over them, but yeah, next week might be a little more important, or this week if tomorrow doesn't, you know, play out well. But yeah, not a great weekly, but this thing's definitely on the cusp, and it might kind of say the truth a little bit. I do see that there is green over red here and green over red, but that's definitely a little too horizontal for me. Again, I think a good day might give this thing that slope up or down to define itself a little better. So CVNA, Carvana. Okay, look, this one made a real quick move, right? So the other ones made a couple day move between the 9th and the whatever, right? This one just did it in 2 days, okay? And it pretty much went right on the line. I don't remember if I made these after or before, but look, breaks these, tries to get to this, and just gets a monster candle, right? What needed to happen? We needed to go up here, right? Like, this is a good candle. That's a beautiful candle for this break right here. But now I still need confirmation for that 50 break, right? And what do we get? Kind of trading right at around 50% candle. Eventually comes back here. It was really important to bounce here. And I wouldn't necessarily call that a bounce. I would just say it's kind of moving with the 8, right? I would have loved it to do this, and more of that, right? So, but yeah, it pretty much just plays with 50% candle and kind of looks like it's going to be coming back down, right? Because look, we are 1, 2, 3 days under the 8 right now. So again, though, I will say there's at least some things to like. This 8 and 20 went from super, super down to what kind of looks like working its way up, right? Especially the 20 itself. So, hey, if this thing can use the 20 to bounce, that will be huge, because it does it here, right? If it could do it here, that might end up being a real big thing. And we're kind of coming back into this gap, actually, which is real interesting, right? We like quickly filled it, and then we might be coming back into it, okay? So at least into the halfway point. I don't know if we're going to come all the way down to it, but yeah, this is still a gap right here that was filled here. So, hey, maybe this comes down in a super quick red, and then there's like a nice green that comes. But yeah, overall, I'm definitely not happy. I think how it plays with the 20 will really make me determine how I'd feel here. Like, I'm not bullish, I'm not bearish, right? I'm a little bit neutral. I need this thing to kind of tell me a little bit more, you know? What does the weekly look like? Again, it's not a beautiful weekly. It's definitely been well under the 8. Yeah, this was a great candle that got us over it. Yeah, these two are obviously over the line, but neither of these are good confirmation, right? I want another green candle up. It's even a big, give me a doji green and make me wait the next one, right? Don't give me this. So definitely not a good weekly. Definitely makes me think we're coming back to this 547 line, kind of the same line we were talking about over here, right? I mean, hopefully it's this one, but yeah, maybe we come back here and then do one more bounce. I think that seems a little more likely with Carvana. All right, GNU, and it's really funny because GNUS obviously is the one. GNS looks like it's been another one that actually went silly. So I don't know if this one's well worth adding or not, right? But just real quick, I mean, look, there's been no volume at all. Clearly a huge spike that's come all the way down. This is what happens when you break moving averages. And yeah, we're definitely on the 8, right? But look, it looks like the RSI just super needs to cool down, right? I could see GNS coming to 134, hopefully no lower, maybe like 140, 142, give or take. And then hopefully bouncing back up, right? But it's a big distance from here to getting back over the 8, right? And again, that's a pretty high RSI. It literally got as high as I almost said the F word. It got literally to 100 right there. Got to 96.70, right? That's just real high. So yeah, definitely going to need to cool down. I guess I'll draw. I don't need to draw any lines though, because literally these are the lines we got. So GNS, I guess I'll throw that one in the header. Back to GNUS, okay? Again, this one, I don't know if this one's an old meme or not, but yeah, look, this one had a real nice move, okay? And look, the 200 is the last one for a good reason. And yeah, it was super, super hard to break. Literally puts a doji right under it, right? With a couple more dojis right to follow. So you can see people are literally like, okay, how are we going to play out with this 200, right? Because you break it and you fly, or you hit it and sometimes bounce down violently, right? But this should not go lower than these two. And I think it goes back to the Bed Bath & Beyond chart from the first one, right? If you're going to lose 2 lines, you're for sure coming down to this one, right? You should hit this, one of these two, and bounce back up. Hopefully bounce back and try to take out that 200, right? But yeah, bad things happen under the 8. Good things happen over the 8. You got to start questioning it when you're horizontal at the 8, that's for sure, right? But again, it seems like this is where it should stop. Otherwise, for sure, you're going to lose another, 8% and come down from that 64, 63 to 60 range. So, yeah, overall, though, beautiful profit. Can't be mad with that. What's the weekly look like? Okay, interesting weekly. Now, look, this is what I'm saying, okay? If you're going to break 2, obviously this doesn't count, but at least give me 2 greens in a row, right? That's at the minimum. So clearly, again, like I said, this doesn't count, and we're definitely under the doji, right? It'd be cool if Friday could close at like 69. Again, I can only see 2 decimals, right? But literally close at 69 cents, gain a penny tomorrow, could do some really big things on this chart, actually, because MACD actually wants to take off, right? And one more good week would put it in the positive, and RSI is definitely peaking with the green over the red for sure. Volume's not there, but that's okay. These things might get good enough for next week's setup, and volume would come next week. But this thing needs to gain a penny tomorrow for sure. Doesn't have to break the 200. Just get us back in there. Get us back up 1 cent. All right. I'm not asking for a lot. I don't think I am here. AFRM. Affirm. Again, look, and you can see it, right? Most of these made that exact same run from the 9th till like roughly the 17th. Some kind of stalled around here, right? But yeah, Affirm one more time. Bad things happen under the 8. Bad things happen under the 20. Sorry, 1 second. Let me hang up on that. And then you get a break of lines. And look what happens here, right? You break it. You need to cool down. There's 2 lines right here. And boom, you do that, right? That's literally what was missing on, was it this one? Hold on. Was it CVNA? Yes, that's what was missing here. It came to the 2 point and couldn't do that rocket. It just came to the 2 point and went horizontal. That's not what we're here for. We're here for come to the 2 point and bounce like a rocket, right? And it just really holds that beautiful parallel, right? And it actually kind of does it again right here too, right? So Affirm's been doing well. And look, that entire time, the RSI has been just so healthy, right? It's 74 is actually still a decent number. 74 with the MACD up here, looks like people are kind of buying the last couple days. I think that this might actually try to come to the $16 range. Maybe it'll try one more time. Maybe even if it just wicks it, right? But I think it has a 1550 in it tomorrow. I just don't think it's going to get over that 100, right? But look, it's been a long time since it's been anywhere near the 100. So yeah, it matters for sure. And get over the 100, you got reason to believe you're coming here, right? So this thing's been doing really well, sorry about that, with two things. One, using the bounces, and two, just following the 8. And if you can do those two things, you're gonna make some money on a stock. That's how this works, right? Did I look at the weekly? I did not, but look at this weekly, right? Nice break of the 8, beautiful confirmation, a doji right under that pesky 20 line, right? So we've actually broken the 20 not that long ago. August, I mean, I guess that's 6 months ago. It's actually been quite a while, but, and that was actually the only one. So, yeah, interesting. Okay. Let's see how this, again, MACD looks all right, right? So stay where you're at. Don't do too much tomorrow. Please close over 1430 tomorrow. So you can lose 5 cents here, all right? You can lose most of what you gained today. Stay over that weekly, right? It's still going to be a doji, but again, I'll take the doji and we'll try again next week. But yeah, interesting, real beautiful chart. One more time, that is a beautiful chart. And then last on the list here, and again, this one's last. My list is low, but if you want me to add anything, don't hesitate to add it. A lot of bad to talk about here. Look, okay, which one was it? I think it was AMC. If you've watched the earlier ones, nothing gets me more excited than that right there. Just red, a doji that don't matter, red, right? This thing's dying to go from 9 cents to 17 cents, almost a 2x jump with this thing as the only blocker, okay? That said, nothing good happens under the 8. Nothing good happens under the 20, okay? And yeah, it did a nice shot here. Bad confirmation, actually loses a line, right? From there, nothing but trading under the 8 and the 20, and now we've definitely lost both lines. It would be really bad to lose that, right? It looks like it's pretty much the exact same number. Yeah, I mean, and it looks like I only see 2 decimals. That is the one thing I hate about this system. Again, I love this thing because it lets me do my bigger one and then this chart reader that we're looking at. But yeah, this candle's lower than these candle opens, which is not a good thing. And are we at all-time lows? Is that, yeah, man, I think that does take it. The last place you want your money is all-time lows, okay? This thing has done nothing but trade under the 8. Yeah, I mean, there's a chance it might get some volume and come up, but nothing is sustainable on this one, okay? So be careful, and for real, I know it seems like how much worse can this get? There are definitely 7 more cents this thing can lose, okay? And there's a death by 1,000 cuts is horrible. You don't want it, just trust me, so better places with your money for sure. But hey, I hope you're learning. I sincerely appreciate your time. Thank you so much.